There's a quiet kind of pain that doesn't always show on our faces. It's the one that creeps in when we replay a moment over and over, wishing we could have done better, said something different, made a different choice. And that's a voice of self blame, a voice that's harsh, persistent, and rarely fair. We'll carry it in some form. Maybe it's a decision you made years ago. Maybe it's a relationship you think you ruined. Maybe it's something as small as how you spoke to someone yesterday, but somehow it lingers and weighs you down more than it should. When we talk about unlocking the heart, one of the most overlooked keys is the release of self blame. We often talk about forgiving others, about moving on from what they did. But how often do we really pause and forgive ourselves? That's the piece that quietly closes the heart from the inside. And today, I want to invite you into a moment of honesty with yourself. How much of the heaviness you feel in your chest isn't about someone else at all, but about the guilt or regret you carry for what you did or what you didn't do. I remember a time in my own life when self blame was like a second skin. Deep down, I knew a relationship took two people and that our breakup wasn't solely my fault. Yet for months, I replayed every conversation, every text, every moment that I wish I could have said or done something differently. Subconsciously, I convinced myself that holding on to the blame meant I was being accountable, and that by carrying the punishment inside, I was somehow becoming a better person. But the truth, all I was doing was keeping my heart closed. I had built a prison out of the bars of I should have known better and if only I had. It felt especially cruel because I had already done so much inner work before that relationship. I thought I was healed. I thought I was better. Yet somehow, my old self still got triggered and slipped back into the driver's seat. And from that heart prison, it's hard to love fully. It's hard to trust. It's even hard to breathe. Here's what I learned and what I want you to really hear. Self blame is not the same as responsibility. Responsibility helps us grow, helps us learn, helps us repair where we can. But self blame keeps us frozen in the past. It's like picking at a wound so it never heals. And the heart, your heart, needs healing more than it needs punishment. Why does this matter for unlocking your heart? Because a heart that is heavy with self blame will always be guarded. You may try to open it, but the moment love or joy or connection tries to flow in, that voice will whisper, "You don't deserve this. Remember what you did?" And that whisper shuts the door all over again. So, to truly open your heart, you have to meet that part of you, the one that's still carrying the blame, with compassion and give it permission to put that weight down. Think of a time when you've forgiven someone else. Remember how it felt. Maybe there was relief, a softening, even if it took time. Now imagine giving that same gift to yourself. Why do we think we're the only ones who don't deserve that? Why do we hold ourselves to a standard that doesn't allow for being human? Maybe because somewhere along the way, we were told we had to be perfect to be worthy. Maybe because it feels safer to stay in punishment than to risk the vulnerability of self compassion. But here's what I want you to know today: you are not your past choices, you are not the mistakes you made. You are a living, breathing, growing human being who made those choices with the knowledge, capacity, and circumstances you had at the time. And if you could go back with the wisdom you have now, maybe you would do things differently. But the only thing you can do with that realization is to allow it to soften you, not harden you. I had to learn this the hard way. I had to sit down one day in tears and ask myself, if I keep carrying this blame, will it bring that person back? Will it undo the past? Or is it just hurting me now in the present? And the answer was obvious. Blame was not bringing repair. It was only creating more distance from others and from myself. It was clear to me that even if I had done something differently in that particular moment, and even if our relationship had lasted a bit longer, it still would follow the same path. And something else would have eventually caused the breakup. Not because either of us was a bad person, but because we were reflecting each other's wounds that still needed healing. So I made a choice that day to start letting go, not to excuse what happened, not to erase the past, but to stop punishing myself for being human. And that's what today is about. Letting go is not about pretending nothing happened. It's about saying, I acknowledge it, I learned from it, and I choose not to let it poison my heart anymore. So now, let's move into your practice for today. A simple but powerful release ritual. You don't need anything fancy for this, just a quiet space, a piece of paper, and a pen. Here's what you'll do: sit somewhere comfortable and take a deep breath. Feel your chest rise and fall. Notice if there's any tightness. Maybe even place your hand over your heart. Think of one thing you've been blaming yourself for. Don't go searching for the biggest wound, just what comes up today. It could be something recent or something from long ago. Write it down on the paper. Write the sentence as honestly as you can. I blame myself for, let it be raw, let it be messy. Now, below that, write a compassionate truth. Something like, I did the best I could with what I knew then, or I'm learning and I forgive myself for being human. It doesn't have to feel fully believable yet. It just has to be kind. Now read that compassionate sentence out loud. Notice how your body feels when you say it. And now, tear up that paper or burn it safely if you can. As you do, imagine that blame dissolving into the air. Imagine your heart getting a little lighter, a little more space to breathe. This isn't about forgetting. It's about creating room for new energy to flow. You might have to do this more than once. Some wounds need multiple layers of release. But every time you do, you are telling your heart, you deserve to be free. When you're done, take a moment to place your hand on your chest again. Whisper to yourself, I forgive you. Even if your mind still argues, your heart hears you. So, that's your challenge today. Not to erase the past, but to release the grip it has on your heart. And if it feels strange at first, good. That means you're stepping into new territory, one where compassion replaces punishment and where your heart has room to open just a little more. Tomorrow, we'll go deeper into the journey of healing. But today is about that first real step, choosing not to keep yourself locked away anymore. You've carried this long enough. Let it go.